Hi friends, welcome to Bella Stitchery. This is resin making part 2. I have another video that shows how to make these resin embellishments with molds. We have graduated now and we are going to decorate and paint them. So come with me friends. I have 7 different types of colors, inks, even embossing powders. Probably never even thought about that. I hadn't either, but I started experimenting with things just so I could do a video, and here we are. I found out all kinds of cool stuff. So let me show you kind of what I've done. And you can experiment. There's no wrong way to do this. If it just turns out terribly, throw it in the trash and we will never speak of it again. Here's what I found. You can make them with the white resin mold kits, and they already look fabulous. As is. Beautiful plastic shapes with lots of pretty detail. However, sometimes, if they're not painted, some of the detail gets lost from afar. Will you agree? See that? So, we have options. One option, and I showed this in the last video, is mixing your pigment powders in with the chemical compound before you pour it. And for that, I used magical powders to make these kind of stone looking resin embellishments. So that's one option. And if you want to see how to do that, check out the other video. The other option is to paint and play with them after they're made, which is how I made these fun little guys. And I'll show you some of these things, okay? Don't mind my dog. He's not even a part of this. He doesn't even craft, but he likes to get in on the videos. So the first thing I tried was Prima Marketing metallic waxes. These are cool. They have them in so many different colors. These are the 3 I have right now. I'm actually waiting on mail, because, and that might be why my dog's barking. I ordered green. They have blues, purples, pinks, bronzes, every color you can imagine they have. And the cool thing about these waxes is that they go on so easily and like kind of thick. So you could instantly wax up, metallicize just about anything. I like to use this kind of stippled dauber brush. This is, I think, for stenciling. This is a Martha Stewart one. Boom, you put it right in the wax. It smells kind of strong, but it feels like a chapstick. And then you just apply directly to your piece. I like this brush in particular because I find it really goes into all those little grooves pretty well. But look at that color. I mean, it does look like metal, doesn't it? And easy, breezy, 30 seconds, you have a silver keyhole. Just like that. I recommend gloves for all of these projects because, as you can see, it is messy business. But look at that. Gorgeous, right? So that's one trick you can do. These are really fun anyway. I really recommend these. You can put these directly onto die cuts. You could do these onto buttons, wood laser cuts. It's really cool. The other project that I kind of experimented with was with the Lindy's Gang magical shakers. Okay, as I mentioned, I did do magicals directly into some of my molds, but you could also apply them after the fact to your pieces. So these are the shakers, which if you haven't seen the tutorial on this, these are kind of my obsession right now. What I did is I just put some magical shaker right on my piece here, then sprayed it with water. And look at that. I love that this dye just flows right down through all of those little crevices, because that's really the reason I color them, so that I could see all this detail with different kinds of color. Okay, now one thing to remember with your resin pieces, they are a little porous, so it will dry and hold the color, but while it's wet, for a lot of these, especially this kind of wet, watery paints, you can pick up a lot of the color right away, which I like doing because I don't necessarily want it on the tops of my pieces. Does that make sense? You could add more too. Like I want a little bit over here, just add a little bit more. See? Easy. And then I just let it dry. Okay? So that's another way to use that. That's 2. I gotta keep count. I don't know. I said 7. I feel like I should give you 7 options. Another one, and I like using the Distress inks here from Tim Holtz, which again, if you do not have some Distress inks in your stash, please check them out. These are cool. This one is called Walnut Stain. It can go in a little dark. So what I found works best is to use a baby wipe to apply. Let me show you how. Having toddlers is great. They come with their own resources right there, baby wipes. Okay, so I took my baby wipe, put it right into my ink pad, okay? Might be a little too much even. And then I kind of wiped it like kind of like a wash, if you will, to my resin. That way it doesn't go on as dark, and it's still pretty dark, as you can see. But I have tried it before directly. Try it. I'm not saying you can't do it. You know what? I'm not your real mom. You do what you want to do. But I just found this kind of like a lighter wash. To me, I liked better. And that's about the look you're gonna get. So it's real antique-y, kind of old, something you'd find in an attic that time forgot. You know what I'm saying? Very cool. Okay. Then another idea is with metallic paints. This is a silver glaze. I think I've used the gold glaze to make little frames. Maybe you've seen that video. This is a silver one. I just opened it actually today. And for that, you just apply it direct. So you take a dry brush. It is very silver. Look at that. It's cool, right? Then you grab the piece you want and just paint it. This goes on much more like a paint than the wax that we used earlier. And you might be able to tell. So this, you're definitely gonna see a little bit more of like your brush strokes. You can wipe those down if you don't like those brush strokes there. This is gonna take a little bit more time to dry than when you use the metallic waxes as well. But it is a really pretty silver and it's super shiny. Look at that. I just love silver or gold for keyholes. I think it's really cool. And that almost looks like metal. So there's that. Beautiful, right? Okay. This I also did with this paint. Just so if you want to get an idea. Another idea is to layer different types. Oh yeah, you can mix and match. So for example, for this one here, I went in with my black Distress Oxide. Get another dry brush here. Okay, brush right to the ink pad. Boom. And I really wanted to get into the nooks and crannies first because I want the darkest part to be in those creases. Does that make sense? And then we're gonna go over the top with a lighter or a metallic color. So if you want to blot that off a little bit, you can. As you can see, you could already pick up some of that and just leave it like that would be cool. But why stop there? We have all the supplies. Let's just mix and match all willy-nilly like. Then you can go in with like a brushed iron or an old silver. And what you're gonna wanna do with that, this is why gloves come in handy too, by the way. Just like a chapstick, again. You're just gonna brush the top with the silver to make these little pieces here pop. So then you have your black Distress Oxide in those creases and your silver on top of those elements that pop up. See? Cool, right? Gives it a lot of dimension, easy to read from a distance, very cool. Another thing I experimented with, because why not, is embossing powders. Wasn't sure if it would work, and you know what, it does. So let me show you how I did that. For the embossing powder, I used the Ranger Emboss It Dauber in clear. It's a little hard to see because clear. So I kind of squeezed it to make sure it was getting gooey, because it's kind of hard to tell if it's going on or not because there's no color. So I just kind of squeezed it all over the plastic piece here. Then what you're going to do, just like with stamping, take your embossing powder. I feel like a finer embossing powder is going to work better than a chunkier one, because you want it to kind of melt pretty well into your piece here. Okay, like so. Then, ta-da, heat tool. Going to heat up my heat gun. And it will melt your embossing powder directly onto your resin. Fun never ends, I'm telling you. And you'll see it, you probably can't see it on the video, but you will see it change as you heat it. You'll see that embossing powder really melt. You can even go over it again if you wanted it to be a little bit darker. Now, the only thing I found with this in particular is it does take a little bit longer to cool off and dry than if you use it on a paper, like as a stamp, okay? So with this here, because you basically have like this melted wax plastic, I'm not even sure what embossing powder is, you're gonna wanna just set that aside, let it cool completely before you mess with it too much, okay? But how pretty? Isn't that pretty? Yeah. Oh. Like, I feel like a mad scientist sometimes. Do you ever get that with crafts? Like, whoo! Should these things be done? I don't know. Okay, so the other thing that I tried was Lindy's Gang Glitz Spritz. If you haven't tried these are interesting. They come in a bottle filled with just the powder. You add water to the fill line and just shake it up, okay? This one's called Cactus Gold. It's really pretty. It's got kind of like a marbled green and gold look to it. I thought this would be kind of fun. So let's do a piece like this here. I'm gonna move my little hot keyhole. And what I did is just kind of really wanna fill, again, those creases and crannies. I might be angling this too hard. It's kind of hard to spray. This is hard at this angle. My Glitz Spritz is like, what are you doing? Why are you holding me this way? Okay. And I just really let this sit in the bottom. You know what, we're gonna do this a different way. I'm just gonna put it right there. Okay. So if you have a hard time spraying it for whatever reason, although I didn't have a challenge before it was filming, but here we are. You could just dab it directly in there, okay? And I kind of let it sit because, again, this is very watery, but I want the color down in these little pockets for sure. And then I'm gonna go over the top with another color. So that's one tool you could use. This is a fun one. I've used this with doilies and things like that, if you've seen those tutorials I've done. And then what I'd like to show you is some of the ways you can mix and match. Oh, I have one more. See, I knew I should be keeping count. This here is watercolor. This is a metallic watercolor, which is fun. So look at this. Look at the palette is beautiful. A little trick for watercolor, which I didn't know until recently, is you should kind of spray them down and let it sit for a bit. It kind of activates the color. I didn't know that, but you know what? After I started doing that, my color is much, much bolder. So thank you, artists who know what they're doing, for that advice. So for this, you can take a clean paintbrush would be good. And once it has kind of, see, it kind of makes it mushy. And when it dries, it'll be just like new, which is cool. So let's do another, how about this guy? And look at this color. Hello, that is awesome. It is a very bright color. This I love. This is cool. So you got kind of a metallic finish here. It's very bold color. And then what I was going to show you, wow, that's really pretty. See that? What I was going to show you is you can go back into any of these things that you've been working with and add new color, new dimension. Go over it again. Look at this. Don't be afraid. The more you add, the more layers, I just think it looks cooler, right? So now you got a little bit of the purple, you got a little bit of the green. When that dries, you could add a little bit of the silver wax. All these things are happy things. Let's take this one, for instance. This was the one I used the glaze for. Let's see if we can add some blue. Oh yeah, look at that. Just goes right on top there. And when you do these layers like this, the nice thing is you really get that to pop, because now you see the silver underneath and the blue. You could even give it a wipe while it's wet if you don't like it as blue. You want to lessen the color a little bit. Look at that. So these are fun things to play with. Every time you do it, it's going to be a little bit different. That's kind of the fun of it. I like mixing and matching my different techniques. This we did the brown on. We can easily go back in with some of the black ink too. Add different layers there. Look at that. So you don't have to do it just one way. Again, if you don't like how it turned out, you could throw it away or just keep adding layers to it. That's the nice thing. I just like it where I don't see any of the white resin. I like to just completely coat them with different kinds of things because it just makes me happy. Let's go over it with wax. See? You don't ever need to stop playing with these. 15 coats later. You could match them all. You could do a bunch all together so you have all matching embellishments. You could make them as you need them for different projects. This metallic is pretty. It's kind of like a rose gold here. And see, then now you get to see all the different colors that you've used. I mean, it's just that easy. Just that easy. So play with what you have. Invest in what you want to try. I will have links to all of these things in the description for this video. So if there was something that you're like, I never thought I'd try this thing, but here we are. Now I see how it works. That's the beauty of YouTube, am I right? This guy, look at this. Let's add something. I thought I was going to close the video, but you know what? No, I'll be here all night. I'm going to add some silver here on top of the green. Gorgeous. Now, as I said earlier too, one last thing to note. These, when they dry, I haven't really had a problem with them wiping off or chipping or anything like that. But if you are concerned about that, you can add a sealer. So this is one, for example, from Swelligant. This is a clear sealant matte finish. Again, wait till everything's dry. Then you can go over these if you're worried about something rubbing off or, I don't know, chipping maybe. No problem. That's really easy. Like I said, it goes on clear. It does take about 24 hours to set on this brand, just so you know. But those are some ideas for you. Oh, look at this guy. This guy needs another layer too. This is fun. This is really fun. I'm glad you're here with me because I've got a lot to do here. Let's add another color of watercolor. Let's add some blue. Oh my gosh, this blue. Oh my gosh, these metallic watercolors. I wish I did more with watercolors because these, just magical. I actually bought this metallic set because I wanted to be able to do mixed media and painting on black cardstock. And I will tell you, I haven't even tried it yet. Has anybody out there done watercoloring on black cardstock or black paper? And how does it work? And what do I need to know? Because I've had these for a couple weeks and I just use them for other random things now. But pretty, right? You can add some, look at this, go back in, some silver. These things aren't done till you say they're done. Don't let anyone tell you how to do your own stuff, okay? Play with it. You could do a whole card and just use these same materials on the whole card so it all kind of is cohesive, very mixed media, collage-y. So pretty. I'm gonna take this is my wet wipe. Cross-contaminating all my colors, doesn't matter. You could add a little brown, look at this. Brown, boom. Rustic, old-timey, steampunk, all these things. So that's my resin part 2, my little tutorial. Some of the things I've tried. You tell me what you've tried. Have you made resin before? Did you see my other video? What did you think? Did it inspire you to make your own resin? There are so many beautiful molds out there too. So yeah, give me your feedback. Let me know your favorite brand of mixed media type painting supplies. I know a couple of you who watch my videos love the Tim Holtz stuff. Those are my friends. Hi, friends. And Prima, gosh, Prima knows what they're doing. They know the good stuff. So what do you like? Are there brands here that I have forgotten? Because then I will buy them. So let me know your thoughts. Check it out. Try it out. Let's go make some stuff. Bye.